Well, guys, we are back again, and on today's tutorial, we want to look at how to take off quantities of our staircase. We had looked at a previous video, so we also want to do a different design of staircase so that we can notice the difference as we continue to learn more. So stay tuned. Kindly, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and above all, leave a comment. So we are going to study our staircase, how it looks like, and then from there we shall be able to proceed. Now this is the staircase that we want to take off. This is the staircase that we want to get its quantities. So as you can see, we have the first floor plan, and then we have the ground floor plan, and then from there we have the section XX, and then we've been given detail B. As you can see, this is where we have our detail B. So from this first floor plan, so you are this way, you go down, and when you are on ground floor, this way you go up. So you can see it's a staircase which has two flights. So this is the first flight, and then this is the second flight. Now if we look at the section, we've been given some details. So we have the measurement of the staircase here, and then if you look at the section XX, we've been given the treads are 225 millimeters, the risers are 175 millimeters, and then so these are the risers for the first timers. These are the risers, and then these are the treads. Those are the treads where we step on as we climb up or come down. And then we have the balusters. We have the handrail. This is the handrail here, and then these vertical ones here are the balusters, and then we have the bottom rail here. This is our bottom rail, and then we have the in between the balusters, we have the standards. The standards are the ones the vertical ones that goes down to the tread, but the balusters are up to them in between the top and the bottom rail here. So down here we have 12 millimeters diameter bars at 125 millimeter center to center both ways. So we have reinforcement for this concrete here. And then here is where we have our detail B, where it has been circled. This is our detail B, and then our detail B has been given down here. As you can see, from this point up to this point is 350, but for the string, for the waist, we have 175 millimeters. So this is 175, and then our concrete mix is 1:2:4, and then we have 10 millimeters mild steel distribution bars, two number at every step. So at every step we have two of them. So at this step we have two, at this step two, at this step two, continuing that way. And then we have 12 millimeters bars at 250 center to center. Sorry, there's a contradiction. Okay, and then we have 12 millimeters thick plaster. So down here we have a plaster, as you can see, and then on top of the stairs, on the riser here, on the face of the riser, we have 12 millimeter terrazzo, and then we can see 40 by 20 carbon round insert, this one here, and then we have 50 by 50 mild steel bottom rails. Okay, this is the bottom rail. They are showing us now exactly where the bottom rail is, and then they are showing us where the standard is. You can see this is 25 by 25 by 110 millimeters mild steel standard, the one that is coming down that way. So I think that is our staircase, and then we have the landing. This is our landing here. So if you can look at the section, this is where we have our landing there. That is our landing. Yeah, and then it is 175 millimeters thick, and then we've been given the details. So we are going to take off the quantities of the staircase starting from formwork up to the finishes. Now let's list down the items that we need to measure before we take off the staircase. So item number one is formwork. So under formwork, we have formwork for the landing. So for us to be able to get this concrete for landing, we must place some temporary structures that are going to hold that formwork. So we have formwork for the staircase. This one here, this is our staircase for the first flight and for the second flight. So for us to be able to have this staircase here, we must have a formwork that is holding this concrete. So we'll have a formwork on the bottom here, and then we'll have formwork for the risers, this one here, that will hold the risers in place. And then we'll have the string edge, this string edge, this is the string. So on this edge we'll have a formwork that will be holding this concrete. Remember, if you look at this, if you look at our plan here, let's use the ground floor plan. If we are going this way up, so one side we will only have formwork for the string on this side. Okay, this is an open space here. 215 is an open space. So we are going to have formwork that is going to hold concrete on this side and on this side only, because the other side is being held by the wall. So because our stairs is in between the wall. And then after formwork, now we are going to place our concrete. So we are going to take quantities of the concrete that is for the landing here and for the staircase, both for the first flight and the second flight. And then we are going to look at reinforcement, because we've been given the 12 millimeters bars here, and then we have the 10 millimeters mile steel distribution bars on the stairs. So we are going to look at the reinforcement, and then we are going to look at the balustrades, that is the handrail, the bottom rail, the balusters, and also the standards. And then we'll do the finishes at the end, that is the terrazzo, and then the painting that we have, and the insert. So guys, those are the items that we need to measure. So let's start with the formwork. Off we start with the formwork. Now we are going to start with formwork for the landing. Now our landing is here. This is our landing here. That is our landing. I want to highlight it so that we can be able to see it clearly. So that is our landing. So our landing is 1200, and then the length is 1200 plus 215 plus 1200. Now for the width, which is 1200, if you look at the section XX here, this is our landing. Yeah, so the concrete that we need is for this landing, that one. But our 1200, if you look at the bottom, it's up to here. But if you look at the top, it's up to this extent. So that is our 1200. So we are going, because this section here, this section of concrete here, will cover it in the staircase. So we only need this part here. So we are going to take 225. This is one thread from here up to here is one thread, that is 225 millimeters. So we are going to take 1200 with less 225 to get 975 millimeters for the width. So that will be from this point up to that point, and then our length, we have said it will be the entire length, that is from this point up to that point, that is giving us 2615 millimeters. Now we book that one, so it's the length 2.61 and 0.98, and then we say sawn timber formwork to the soffit of the landing. Now that is done with the landing. Let's go to the staircase. We are going to start with the first flight. So this is our first flight, and this is our second flight. So for our first flight, we need formwork that is going to hold concrete from here on the string going this way. So we need that concrete. Now let's find the height, because this is diagonal. So we are going to form a rectangle here so that we get the height and the length, so that we can be able to find our x. Now, for us to get the height is given by adding the height of the riser. Because if you are at this point, if you take this one, you add 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 this one, they are going to give you that height that we need, because this is the height that we need. So we are going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 risers. Yeah, kindly count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry, yeah, 5. So that will give us the height. And then for the horizontal one, this one, the thread, we want to get the length from this point up to this point. So we are going to take this one, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that one will give us the the length. Now the riser are 5, and then the trends are 6. So we tabulate that one, they give us 875 and 1350. Now using Pythagoras theorem, we can find our x, which is 1608.77 millimeters. So that is our x. So that is the formwork that we'll need, and then by its width, because that string is that way. Actually, it's that way. So this is what we have for 1608, and then we are going to take our width. Now let's look at the second flight. Our second flight is, sorry, before we go to the second flight, now we have something here that has remained. Let's look at that one, because we've taken up to their formwork. And remember, when we were doing landing, we took the measurement from here going that way. Now we have something that has remained here. So that something that has remained here forms a triangle, whereby we want to find this diagonal. So we are going to take this thread and then this riser for us to be able to get the diagonal. So we tabulate that one. So this portion here is what I've drawn here for us to be able to get x. So we are going to take this thread and this riser for us to be able to get that x. Now if we get that x, then from the formwork that we had gotten our x1 for the first flight, we are going to add the small x here for us to be able to get the entire formwork from here up to that point. So tabulating that one, that is Pythagoras theorem, it will be 225 squared plus 175 squared, and then we find the square root. That gives us 285.0.04. So this 285.04 is what we are going to add to the previous x that we had found. That is from this point up to that point, and then we get 1893.81 millimeters. Okay, now we proceed to the second flight. So our second flight is this one here up to there. So we need this, we need that formwork. Yeah, so we are going to take the risers. So the risers that we need, that is the height. Now we are going to find the height. So if we were to draw that one like that, yeah, so we need this height. So it's going to be given by the risers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, let's count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, because it's up to here. And then for the trends, we have 1, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, let's count them again. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8, and then the risers are, let's count the risers again. We have, so we want the height from this point up to this point. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8, 8. So 8, 8, 175 by 8 and 225 by 8. And then we use Pythagoras theorem to find that x. So let's get the x for the second flight. Now let's book the staircase formwork. So remember our first string we had 1.89, and the width of our staircase is 1200. So we have 1.89 by 1.2, and then the second one is 2.28. This one here is 2.28 by 1.2. Then we say sawn timber formwork to the soffits of the staircase. Now let's go to the edges. The edges is this formwork that is going to hold the concrete for the riser. So in every riser we have a formwork which is equivalent to the width of the staircase, that is 1.2. So we have how many risers? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we also have the other ones at 8. So 1.20 multiplied by 8 by 2, that is 16. And then we say ditto to the edges of risers, that is 75 to 150 millimeters. Now let's get to the string. The formwork that is going to hold the string here. So we are going to take it's one side only, for this side and for this side. So for this string, we need a temporary that is going to hold the concrete in the waist. That is, we are going to take this string. The string was 1.89, and then the other one is 2.28. So we say ditto to the edges of string, that is 300 to 375 millimeters gut. So that is how we deal with formwork. Our next item is concrete works. We are going to look at concrete works. We are going to start with the landing. So our landing here, it's 1200 millimeters. So 1200 millimeters is from here up to here. So we are going to deduct this trend here, which is 225. And then if you look at our concrete, it's going inside the wall. So we are going to assume half the thickness of the wall. The thickness of the wall is 215. So we are going to assume half 215. So we are going to take the 1200, and then we subtract this step here, which is for the trend. And then once we subtract that one, we are going to add half 215, which is 107.5. That gives us 1082.5 millimeters. Now let's go to the length. The length is this entire length. We are going to take this entire length, which is 50 millimeters. Now, for us to book that one, it will be the length 3.05 by 1.08, and then we say VRC 1:2:4 in 20 millimeters aggregate in 175 millimeters thick slab. So that is how we book the concrete in the landing. Now we proceed to the staircase. Now in the staircase, we need, first of all, we are going to book, if you look at this detail B, or if you look at this section here, we have the concrete that is forming the waist, this one. And then let me highlight it here. Sorry. Yeah, that one. And then we have the one that is forming the steps. So first we are going to book this one, which is 175 millimeters thick. So the first flight we have 1.89, that is the waist. and then our width is the width of the staircase is what is 1300 plus it goes inside by a half, so we are going to add a half to 215, that is 107, that will give us 1.31, and then by the width thickness of the slab, that is 75, that is 175 millimeters, that gives us 0.18, and then for the other one is 2.23, and then 1.31, that is for the second flight, and then we have 0.81. So we say VRC in 1 is to 2 is to 4 in 175 millimeters thick staircase. Sorry, before we give the description, let's also book them. These now steps. The steps are equivalent to the number of risers. The number of risers are 16, both in the first and in the second flight. And then, so this riser here, this concrete here, that concrete is forming a triangle. So we have so we are going to find the area. So we are going to take the thread multiplied by the multiplied, sorry, it's not forming, it's, so we need the volume, yeah. So we are going to take the area, that is the thread, multiplied by the riser, and then we multiply by the thickness. So it's half base times height. Our base is 225. Our height is, our length is the length of the staircase, which is 1.31, and then we multiply by the thickness, that is 175. So it will be 1.31, that is 1.31 is the is the width, and then the base is 0.23, that is 225 millimeters, and then we multiply by the thickness, which is 175, that is 0.18, and then remember it's a triangle, so we multiply by half, and then we multiply by the number of risers, which is 16, and then we give our description. VRC in 1 is to 2 is to 4 in 175 millimeters thick staircase. So guys, that is how you do the formwork and the concrete. On our next video, I'm going to do the reinforcement, and then the reinforcement, and then the balustrades, and then the finishes. So 3 items, and then we wind up on this staircase.